You have so much yarn that you struggle to find it where you need it. I'm gonna give you now 2 tips to organize your yarn in a very efficient way. First, decide how you want to organize your yarn. It can be by material, it can be by color, it can be by yarn weight. It's really up to you. After you decide how you want to organize, decide if you want to put it in boxes or in bags. For example, I have a lot of boxes here from my IKEA and I use those to organize my yarn. Second, a yarn inventory. Don't worry if you've never done a spreadsheet before. I'm gonna help you step by step to create one, and you can find all the details in the description below the video. So this is the file that we are going to create today. As you can see, you have different information. You decide the information to put today. I'm just going to give you an idea of what you could do there. And everything will be filtered, so you can filter the content, for example, by color, by brand, by the remaining yarn, etc. So I will explain everything step by step, even for someone who never touched the spreadsheet before. It will be super easy to do. So the first thing we are going to do is search for Google Sheets. So you go on Google Sheets, and you follow the first one. Now, you can sign in if you have a Google account. If you have a Gmail, you already have a Google account, but you can create a Google account even if you don't have a Gmail email. So any email will be just fine. You sign up for free for a Google account, you will have access for free to Excel, basically, to Google Sheets. Now, the first thing we are going to do in here is put in the title. So we are going to call it Yarn Inventory Course. Everything will be saved while you're working, so you don't need to press or select save. And you see save to drive, that's all fine, all done. Now, the first thing to do is deciding what we want to put in the file. So the title of our columns, deciding which one will be our filter later. So I'll give you an example of what we're going to put. So it will be color, it will maybe the type of skin, the shade number, material, thickness, etc. I'm going to go through all of them, so don't worry. Now we start to just construct the file, and then we'll worry about formatting, colors, etc. later, because the most important things is understanding the structure that we want. So I'm going to show you what I will do, but of course it's personal, and depending on what you want to take track of, you will decide what to put. So let's start with the first one. So I position my mouse here in the cell A1, okay? And the first thing I do is writing color. I write in capital because I want my title to be capital. Now, to move within the cells within one row, what I can use is the tab key on the keyboard, and it will go there automatically. Otherwise, I can use my mouse and click on each of the cells. So I position myself here and I write shade number. Then again, I go ahead and I write material. Then I write thickness, but it can be the weight of the yarn. It's really how you prefer to call it. Then I will need the quantities. Now, in quantity, you can decide which one to track. In my case, I will track grams because it's easier for me to keep track of, but you can definitely decide to keep track of yards, meters, anything that is easy for you. Then as next, I will use the hook size. Then I will put the brand, for example, is for me useful when I order again. Name, it will be like the type of yarn on that brand. You will understand better later. And box or bags or whatever you have to store your yarn. In my case, I have boxes from IKEA, so that's what I put box and with a number. You might also not put a number, you put a letter. You can put any indication of where the box is, for example, living room or bedroom. So you know you have the yarn there, and that's the yarn that you are actually tracking. Now, we did this title. I know I said we do the formatting later, but just for the title, let's do something to divide it from the rest. So I'm going to select all the row 1. So I click on row 1 and you see automatically got selected. And I'm going to giving a filling. So I'm just going to go on fill color here, this icon, and I'm just going to go on light green, for example. I could change the color of the font as well, like in white, for example, but I prefer to keep it in black, so it will stay this way. Now again, formatting about center, center, we'll do that later. It doesn't really matter now. Now we're going to take one of the skein of yarn that we have, and you can see here in the screen, and we are going to use this one, for example, now. So you can see this yarn is from Hobby, and it's called France Cotton 84, and in the first part of the label you see some information, but the main information will be on the back of the label. If we follow the order of our columns that we put here, we are going to go for the color. The thing is, the color here here is just the number, it's not written the name of the color. So let's start with that so I don't forget, and it's shade number 103. Now I'm gonna check on their website how it's called this yarn. And why this is important? It's important because if I want to order it again and for by any chance they change the shade, at least I have also the name so I can connect them. It also might be easier for me to remember the color. It's not necessary. Again, it's very personal. You will do what is easier for you. So what I do, I go on their website. So I'm going on the website and I search. We say that this is France Cotton 84. I'm going searching for the 103. There we go. It's called Parakeet. So I know that now, okay? So I'm going to go back to my file and I write here Parakeet. Shade we know already. Material we know is on the label and is 100% cotton. I will just write cotton to make things easier when I search for the material. If I have a mixed cotton with for another material, I don't know, for example, acrylic, I will put cotton/acrylic. That's how I write things. You will write the way you prefer. The important thing, you will be consistent in all your file, writing the same way. Now thickness. Thickness on the label, you will see a little skein of yarn with the number inside written 1 and is written super fine. So here in this column, you can either write 1, you can write super fine, or you can write, for example, 2 ply, which is the UK way to define the yarn. In this case, I'm going to go for what the label says, which is 1, is used most of the time this brand, so it's easier for me to come back to it. Again, as for the material, here write always the same thickness that you use. So if you use more UK terminology, use that. If you use more US, use that. So it will be easier for you to filter later. Now quantity, this skein is new, so I know it's 50 grams, so I put 50 grams, but I can also use the scale to weight it, and that will be important later. If you put other measurement, put the measurement you're familiar with. Always stick with the same. Hook size is on the label again, is 3.5 millimeters. And again, also here you can use the US size or UK size. Brand is Hobby. Now name, I put it because this yarn has a name. It's called France Cotton 84. So if I want to buy it again, at least I know exactly how it's called. It's not just, oh, it's cotton yarn of thickness 1. Maybe they have more than one. They do. So I'm actually sure which yarn it is. Now box is in box number 1. Now you notice that this part is need to be covered, so 8/4 is covered. So to make this fit without becoming too crazy, the easiest thing to do is I'm gonna put my mouse between H and I, so the column H and I, and you see the moment I go in the middle, the icon changes. I'm gonna double click that and immediately fit the text inside my column. Now, what we can do is adding some colors, and it's not just formatting, it's for searching later. So I want to add a color here, but I would like also to add the little image of the yarn, because for me it's easier to remember that way. So what I'm gonna do, I create a new column, but I want the new column to be between A and B. So I position myself on B, click on B, I select all the column, right click on Windows, I think on Mac is Command something, I don't actually remember, but you have to get the menu on the right click. And here you insert one column to the left. Here I will write, for example, for now, skin. It will be, you will decide what to call it. And here it will be the image of my skin. So how you do that? I'm going to go back to the website I was looking at, and I'm going to go here, the image of the skin that I can use. So there are two options here. You right click and you save image as, and I putting that in my downloads, and it's already here, so I'm just gonna save it on it. So it's Parakeet, I wrote in this way, and do save, and yeah, I replace it and it's saved. The other way to do that is with the snipping tool. So you have a snipping tool here, you do new, you actually select this, you screenshot it basically, and then you just save this. If you don't know how to save it, if you go here, there is open screenshot folder, so you can get it from there. It's saved already, so I don't have to do it. So let's go back to my file. So I'm here, so I'm gonna insert the skin here. So what I do, I select with my mouse this cell and I go in insert, easy, image in the cell, insert an image in the cell. I'm gonna browse, I'm gonna go on my downloads and select this, open. And you will see that it's little, but it's there. Now I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna increase the size of this row to make it a little bit more visible. So to do this, I just position myself between row 2 and row 3. You say the mouse changes the shape and the icon, and I just drag it down to make it bigger. That could be fine for me, for example. Just for now, then again, we go back to formatting. I don't like that everything is in the bottom of the cells. So I'm going to select this one here. So between A and 1, this one selects all the sheet for me. I'm going to put the vertical alignment here in the center. So this is all centered, okay? That's good. Now, what we can do is actually color these in the same color of the skein of yarn, because we can filter by color later. To do this, we are going to come here and use the filling color by picking the custom color. So I use this and I go close to my skein of yarn. Of course, there are shades, so it's not all the same color, but I pick the one that is closer to the yarn that I have in my hand and I go there. So in this way, when the cell is selected and I pick the color, that is done. I can actually have the same color. Now, if you don't want to put the skin here, what you could do to do the same is insert, image, over the cells, select the same image that we selected now, and it will be here. And you move it, and you can do the same. You just go here and you choose the color. You do whatever you have to do. In this case, I'm just going to do again. I used the one before. And here, then when you're done, you just select this and delete. I found this easier, but again, up to you. You don't even have to put it. It's just for me for later to filter by color. And now we're going to do a little formatting quickly, and then we add the second row together again so you see how it's done. So first of all, I want this to be bold because I want it to be visible. That is the title. So I just go here on bold and we're fine. Now I want this to be all in the center of the cell. So I'm going to go in this horizontal alignment and I put center. There we go. Now this one, I don't really like them this way, so I would prefer to select different alignment. So this one, don't look at the title, we adjust it later, but this one vertical, the A, I would like to be on the left. The skin, I would like to be in the middle, so I left it there. So right now I'm focusing on the one I want on the left. So I keep press Controls to select more columns. I think it's Command in Mac. So I just do A, and I want material this way, then I want hook size this way, and the name this way. I want them all to be on the left. So I just do this, and look what happened. There we go. Don't worry about the titles. Now, the skin, the shade, the thickness, quantity, box, I want them in the middle. So I go here, I select this, and they go all in the middle. Now, if by any chance you move the title, you just go back to row 1, and you just put them back in the center. So that will be the alignment for all my sheet. I don't have to do it again. I just did it now, that's fine. Now I'm going to select a second type of yarn to do these things together again. So this time we have this one that's yellow in my opinion, but I don't really know the name of the yarn. So I'm going to check the number. It's 24 by it's Friends Cotton 86. So I'm going to go back to the website and I search Friends Cotton 86 and enter. Is this one here. I'm gonna search for 24, and actually you see sunflower is not yellow, but it's yellow. But if I want to be precise, I order the same exact again. It's easier for me to know that's the color. So I'm gonna start to write that. You can also do this, copy and paste if you don't want to write all the time, you are afraid to misspell it. We know it's 24, but we want to put the skin here as well. So I'm gonna go back to that. I'm gonna right click, save image as, I'm gonna go in my download, it's already here in this case, just save it again, and we go back to our file and we do the same. So in this cell here, insert, image, insert image in the cell, browse, select that one, double click or you click and open, and it's there. But now you notice that it's small, it's not as big as the one before, and I want the file to be nice and pretty and useful, so I want the row heights to be the same. So to do that, I'm selecting the heights I like of the row 2, so I go here, I right click and I go resize the row, so it will tell me how big it is. So it's 50. So I don't select anything, I just do cancel, I know it's 50 pixels. Now I'm gonna go back here, right click, resize the row, and standard, as you see, default is 21, so I'm just gonna write 50 here and OK, and you will notice now that here it will reset and it's the same height, so will always be the same. You don't have to, again, it's just my preference. Now let's color this in the color of the yarn, so I'm gonna go on fill color, I'm gonna pick the color, I'm gonna go here, yeah, and that's the same color. Now I continue here, cotton Thickness in this case is a 2, so I think it's 4 ply in UK. Quantity, I know this yarn is less than 50, so I'm gonna weigh on a scale and I see how much it is. Let's say for the sake of argument it's 48. Now hook size is different because this yarn is thicker, so it says here 3.54 millimeters. The brand is still Hobby and it's called Friends Cotton. You see that automatically is selected already one this before, so something that I wrote already suggests me as a content. So I can just do click on tab and it automatically give it to me, but it's 8.6. So I can change it here with double click, or I can go here, backspace and write 6. Now this one will be in box 2 because I personally decided to divide my yarn by the weight, the thickness. Okay, so I decided that I'm gonna have thickness together and material. So I will have a box for acrylic small, for example 1 and 2, and I will have a box for acrylic like DK, chunky, etc. And then I will have a box for cotton DK. So I will have different boxes for everything, but that's up to me. You might want the box by color. It's absolutely fine. The important thing to make the file useful is you write where you put it. So you don't have to go back to your boxes, bags, open them all together when you need to use them for a new project. Now, until now, I showed you how to do this with the Hobby website because it's the yarn I use the most. But let me show you with another website because it might be different, so at least you know how you can do that as well. So I'm going to show you on this website. It's called Woolverhouse. Woolverhouse is a nice family-owned business that has a lot of yarn. And let's search, for example, for Yarnsmiths because it's a very good yarn. And let's use this one, Yarnsmith Create Aran. So Aran is a type of weight in UK that could be classified as chunky, I guess, more or less. But you can find conversion anyway. If you don't know which are familiar with this, if it's UK, if it's US, you can find conversion chart, etc. Let's use this one to create our other row. So let's find the color that we like. For example, grass green, really nice. And we have this, we don't have the image of the skin, so that's what we're going to use. So let's save it for now. So right click, save images. We are going to go to do that in our here, and it's grass, green, and we save it. Now we go back to our file, and we are going to insert the same information that we did until now. So the first thing we position here, and is grass, green. Now we want to insert the image that we saved, so we go again, insert, image in the cell, go in our downloads, and we save this grass green here. And it's here, so we need to color this way, so we are just going to position ourselves here, go in the filling option, pick the color, and this is it, and that's grass green. Now the shade number in this case is 4200, and this material is completely acrylic, so acrylic. Now the thickness here, as I said, is Aran. So if you want to be consistent in this case, I would probably write 4. I have to check. I'm just, go by memory, but I think it's 4. Otherwise, you'll check again on a conversion chart. Quantity. In this case, let's say we bought it new, it will be 100 grams. Hook size is suggested to use a 5mm crochet hook. And the brand in this case is Yarnsmiths. And the name is Create Aran. The box will be 3, for example, because I like it to have another box, okay? Because it's acrylic, so I keep the material separate and also is a different thickness. Now we are gonna do in a little bit more intermediate part where I teach you how to create a very easy formula to calculate how much yarn you need to use. So what I recommend you to do when you insert this data is not to insert it like I did, like 50, 48, 100, by using an equal first, and I'll explain immediately why. So for example, this is 50, I will actually do this, equal 50, you do enter, you go down, the number here will look absolutely the same, and the formula, it will be different, and again, I will explain in a second why I do that. The reason I do that is because in case you buy more of the same yarn, you can add it automatically without having to calculate. So let me give an example on the sunflower yarn. Let's say I like the sunflower, I needed more because I know I needed more for a project. I need to do, for example, a baby blanket with sunflower, and I want to buy more yarn. So I need for this blanket to buy 2 skein more. Each skein is 50 grams. So I order my yarn, it arrives at home, and I want to put it in my file. What I do here, instead of sum by myself with a calculator, 48 plus 50 plus 50, I'm gonna make a sheet doing it. So I just put myself here, is already with the equal, so I don't have to invent anything. I just hit plus and I put 50, and then again plus 50, because now I have 3 skein of yarn. One is already started and is 48 grams, and I have 2 new of 50 grams. When I'm done with it, I just press enter, and automatically it calculates for me that in my stash I have 148 grams of yarn. So this is really helpful when you add yarn multiple times. Then there are other ways to do this. So I could potentially add the column, writing how much it is, and then multiply by the quantity in another color. But I think this, for someone who never used Excel or spreadsheet before, is the easiest way to do it. Now, let's create other 2 columns to create a calculation for me from when I use the yarn. Now, I want to do this close to the quantity part, so I'm gonna put myself on G, on column G, right click, insert column to the left, and again here, insert column to the left. Now here I will put, for example, something like used, and here remaining, but that's up to you. Again, you can write whatever you think is easiest for you. Now what I do here is how much yarn I'm gonna use. Okay, so again here, when to input this, I'm gonna put an equal to make things easier. So if I use it multiple times, I don't have to make a sum myself. So I will put equal. Let's say I took the parquet yarn and I made, I don't know, an amigurumi with it, and like a monster for Halloween. And I use the green. So what I'm gonna do, I know I use 20 grams. How do I know that? So I will take the skein of yarn that I have and like I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna put it on a scale and I weigh how much it is. And I found out it's 50 because actually I have 50 on all my stash, so that's fine. And so I put that 50 there. Now what I'm gonna do here is just use my yarn, do my project, and then I weigh the yarn again, the skein of yarn again after my project. This way I found out I use 10 grams because I will take my 50 here minus the yarn that I used. So what I do here, I will put equal again, and I say I weighted it and I found out I use 10 grams. I just do this. So here will be just 10. Now here I will make a formula, so I can go here where the formula is, put myself here, put an equal again, but this time I'm gonna click on the cell I want to automatically calculate. So I'm gonna go on F2, so it's 50, then I put minus, I literally use the keyboard, and I select G2. Then I go enter, and automatically it calculates not only that I have 40 grams left, but it made me autofill all the rest of my thing. So I'm sure that I will have the same formula again. So I'm just gonna do this, and it autofill. Of course, it's the same number here because I didn't use any. Okay. Now you will say, oh, but why you made me weigh the yarn twice, basically? And I explain that because let's make the example in this case, which is different. So I have, in this case, we found out that we have 3 skein of yarn, right? But when I go in my bag or my box, I might not take all of them to do my project. I might just take one of them. So let's say by any chance, I'm gonna take the 48 grams one, and I don't know because they're very similar, so I don't remember. So what I do, I weight it again before using it, and then I use it again. So here, what I will do is take the skein of yarn I'm gonna use for my project, one of 3. I might not need all of 3 in this case. I just take one, I weight at the point, I found out is 48, for example. I do my project, I weigh the yarn again. I found out that my yarn at this point is, I don't know, 32. So I know the 48 minus 32 is 16. So I write here equal 16. At this point, automatically here is gonna give me the remaining. I'm not gonna get with the suggester here because it's gonna copy the same. So here I now know that all the skin of sunflower I have actually 132 grams. Now here, why I put the equal is because I go back to take the same yarn and I use it for another project. If I want, I can keep track of it. So I just hit plus here. Oh, today I used 10 grams and then I press enter. And that's what happened. It calculates automatically how much is remaining. Now, this is not the only way, of course, how to calculate the remaining yarn. I could put a formula here without me calculating on the scale, etc. So you just need to have the date from the scale and you put automatically here. But this is the easiest way for you to create this. So you will do the same with the rest. Now, let's say you want to copy a formula here, for example. So this one doesn't need to copy because you will just input every time. So you will put equal. And then, I don't know, I use 10 grams and I just do this. But this is a formula. In each of them, you see here, when I move my mouse here, he is changing because it's adapting to the different cells. And if I actually go here and I click here, is highlighting me the cells are used. So yellow is F4 and like purplish is G4. If I go enter and I select this one here and again I click here, again it's selected the one that were used. So if you need ever to check where they, you just do that. Now pressing enter. Now to copy a formula, there are different ways, but the easiest way to do so is going here on the bottom right of your cell. You see the cursor changes, the mouse changes icon. When it becomes like a cross, I just hold it down and go and down. This way we create 0, then you do enter. It will create 0 because there is nothing here to actually calculate with. That's fine, it will fill later. So if I put, for example, 50 and then here 10, automatically here we'll calculate 40. Okay, now cancel this because it's not real, but that's how it look like. Okay, so I'm gonna just cancel this for now because I want to show you something else. Now, last but not least, how we are going to use this file, because up to now I know it's a lot of work and you put all your effort in actually put your yarn in the inventory, and now what you're going to do with this. What is different than having the yarn in box and bags, and what is different than having something written on piece of paper to remember which yarn you have. But the difference is you can filter this. So what you can do is, if you need a project that you have to use green, you can filter by color and see what type of green you have and how much you have, and you see which hook size it is, which material it is, so you can filter different things. Before filtering, we have to apply the filter. So the ideal thing to do to select all the data will be select here and do data and create filter. So you create a filter still all in the first box, but we'll include all the shit, so you won't have any problem in case you write things later. Now, how do you filter? So let's say I want to see, which type of green do I have? So I go here on this little funnel thing and I filter by color. Now it's filtered by none. So I go fill color and I see the greens. Now I can select only one of them, for example, but at least I can already see if there is a green that I like. Then the same can be done with other things. For example, I want to know how much acrylic I have in green. So I'm going to go on material. I'm going to select acrylic. So I'm going to deselect cotton and acrylic is selected. So I already do this. Now we have just one color, so it's easy. But if I had two, like in cotton, I'm going to check, it will be visible which color you have. So I'm going to just select all two, coming back, displaying two. Okay, I'm going to go on cotton. Let's see here. I deselect acrylic. I have 2 cottons. I might have 10. I'm just going to see how much green I have. Okay, just one. Let me look at it. I click on that and that's selected. So you see the funnel here changes its icon when it's selected. So you automatically understand where you're at. So I've selected cotton. I've selected green. Okay, in colors. I literally don't know how it's called, but I like it green, so I checked green. If I want to go back and select all again, I'm just gonna go here and I'm just gonna filter by color none. Material here, I'm gonna select all two and go back. So this is all my selection. Another filter you can use is important, is maybe in the remaining. For example, I need to order some yarn and I don't want to do an order and then say, oh my god, I needed that as well. So that's another cool feature for the yarn inventory. So I'm gonna go in remaining and I'm gonna go for filter by condition and less than 40. So I'm gonna check all the yarn I have under 40 grams. So let's do 41, so give me 40 as well. So I want to check all the yarn that I have under 40 grams, so I put 41. So I know if I want to order it, now is the right moment. So I just press OK. And it gives me this, because the other ones are all more than 40, so I don't need to order it. So that's what I will do. Then to go back to this, you just go here, go None, OK, and it's all selected again. So again, you can use filter in different way. You can use the hook size, the brand, it's really up to you. Really, it's your file. I hope you enjoy this class and I see you in the next.